2 points. In the House of Commons, when the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Boris Johnson, the one who led Britain to exit the EU, he was one of the most remarkable leaders in the history of the European Union. But when he was found with misdemeanor going to a party against COVID-19 rules, and then he was asked to speak to it, he misled the House, instead of admitting and saying, I am sorry. And for that reason, the Prime Minister was put before the Powers and Privileges Committee of the House of Commons, the equivalent of this committee that we are debating today. And powerful as he was, he submitted himself and presented evidence, and using a team of competent lawyers, and he was removed because they were protecting the House of Commons. Senator Gloria has been given an opportunity to go and defend herself on her allegations. She has refused. What do you call it? It's called, in English, it's called contempt. She was contemptuous of the committee. And as if it was not enough, Mr. Speaker, she was contemptuous of the clerk's team because her accusations were leveled against the CEO. And Mr. Speaker, going on the social media group, she was equally contemptuous of all of us. So we have to protect this House by agreeing with the committee. Number two, the woman. And I want to speak mainly to the nominated senator from Samburu and the nominated senator from Mombasa. You are young people, and we love young people because we have some in our houses. Mr. Speaker, it's up to them. They can say and say the good things they have said, but as with the benefit of hindsight, many years of experience, we want to guide them as follows. Instead of you pursuing that trajectory, go and read tonight the story of Grace Onyango. Grace was the woman who broke the glass ceiling for a woman to be elected MP in Kenya. She was truly a graceful Luo woman. Mr. Speaker, let them tonight go and read the story of Chelagat Mutai. Chelagat Mutai was a great woman. She is a hero of the second liberation of this country. She was detained, she was exiled, but Chelagat Mutai never walked on her knees. Who are these young people who want to lecture us when we know the story of Chelagat Mutai? Mr. Speaker, tonight, these young women should go and read the story of Phoebe Asio. Phoebe Asio was in this house. Phoebe was a great woman. She was MP, and because of that distinction, Phoebe was named ambassador to the UN in charge of development funds for women in the world. Give us a break. If you have time, and you must have it, young senators, women, go and read the story of Professor Wangari Muta Madai from Nyeri.
The land of Mau Mau.
She won the Nobel Peace Prize. She was an MP in Nyeri. Mr. Speaker, bear with me. I want to move along with these young people. They think they say anything about them. If the young lady from Meru, if I just give you the photograph of Zinzi, my daughter, you look the other way. She is something. And let me tell you guys, we have to talk to these young people the truth. We are training them to do it better. We were trained by Michael Kijana Wamalwa, Martin Shukuku, and George Anyona. That's why we are good.
Senator Mboni Kalwale,
Mr. Speaker, sir.
with your experience as a legislator
Yes.
and as seen in this house, avoid calling honorable members people and
Sorry, I'm very
young
sorry.
women.
Sorry, I thought when I say young people, it was respectful, but
Yeah.
I recall those words.
Just refer to them
Thank you.
honorably.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, sir, when I quote the name of my daughter, Zinzi, we named her after Zinzi Mandela, the daughter of Nelson Mandela. The daughter of Nelson Mandela is one of the most decent people in South Africa. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to appeal to the nominated senator from Mombasa. One of the greatest senators in the history of this Senate is nominated Senator Agnes Zani. Tonight, go and read the story and the contribution of Dr. Agnes Zani in this house. Don't talk about youth, women. What kind of youth, what kind of woman? It is what you should be telling us. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will not stop without reminding ourselves that the first woman to run for president, Charity Ngilu, has been in this space. She has never abused anybody. She just looks for votes and she defeats men. The first woman to break the glass ceiling.
Senator Boni, Senator Ezena Lemaretian, do you have a point of order? What is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it in order for Senator Boni, with all his wisdom and experience being in this house as an elder, is it in order for him to keep referring to us or to address you directly? And secondly, why is he using this opportunity to label us and character assassinators and compare us to other people? The fact that we rose on the floor of this house to defend a woman whom I termed as assertive does not mean you start attacking the person of my character. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I leave it to you, but if you allow me, let me help her. That in standing orders is called being frivolous. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to conclude this paragraph.
Senator Ezena is equally the angel of Sinzi. So handle her with a lot of care. With
Okay, so let me help her.
Yes.
I want to carry you along. I'm carrying you along, my daughter. And I can assure you, I'm very tough on my daughters. And I'm not saying they are good, but I'm very tough on them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want these people who are driving this gender thing to know that there is a great woman in this country. She's old. She's called Nyiva Mwendwa. Nyiva broke the glass ceiling. Nyiva became minister. And Nyiva, for all the years she was in this parliament, I was with her here in the 9th parliament. She never said that a man is looking at me. Nyiva is truly beautiful. Yes. And because of those many words, Mr. Speaker, because of those many words, let me tell parents out there and the parents who are in there all the time, tell your daughters that before you get a partner who could possibly marry you, a man must approach you sexually. So when he's approaching you sexually, it means it doesn't mean he's harassing you. He's trying his luck. It is up to you to say, no, I don't want, and it ends there. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to appeal to all of us, including the men, about these clerks you are seeing.
Senator Boni Carol, there's a point of information from Senator Beatrice. Ogola.
Beatrice.
Do you want to be
Thank you, Mr.
informed?
Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Bonnie, for allowing me to inform you that you needed to add, on top of the gracious women you have named, just say they are people, they have beauty with brains. Beauty with brains. Some of the beauties have no brain. That is the information I was.
Rise to strongly oppose the report sent before this House because I think everybody deserves a second chance, and most importantly, because I note that we are all not made equal. All human beings are made very differently, and there is no way that we all want to conform or confine human beings to behave in a particular way or express themselves in a particular way. For those of you who think they are gifted in expressing yourselves or projecting your frustrations, not everybody can be like you. And as a mature human being and a leader, what we need to learn is how to tolerate each other. If you know that this particular person has this kind of character, then know how to tolerate that character and respect who they are, because we all have different characters. We all have different personalities. And again, secondly, let's not forget that we are talking about sexual harassment here. This is something that has been downplayed over so many years, and a lot of us have gone through so many frustrations of refusing to be employed because of sexual advances from particularly the men. Not only that, there are also young men in offices who I know have gone through a lot of sexual harassment from ladies, older ladies. And I'm very frustrated as a young person in this country, because that has been the norm within this nation, that somebody will be asked for sexual favors. If you don't conform, you remain jobless. And while at the same time, a lot of people are losing and missing opportunities because of this thorn in the flesh. What this House should be talking about is putting strong and stringent laws forward to regulate sexual harassment, especially in public and government offices. From the top to the bottom, we have had a lot of reports, even in the media, of women being sexually harassed. And right now, to the public, what they see is a young, assertive woman who rose and defended against sexual harassment. A lot of times, we might see different things in the House, but what does the public see? What does the public see? And a lot of times, when assertive women come out and defend their position on these issues, their heads are pressed down. The thing this House should be discussing is how to prevent sexual harassment. And a lot of times when the victim has been harassed, you are not in a position to get evidence. Things flow and you don't have evidence.
A minute, Senator Azena, what is your point of order? And
Again,
let us also not continue just raising point of orders.
No, Mr. Speaker. I am not in the habit of raising frivolous points of order. Understanding Order 120, again to remind this House, that the report before us is a report of the Powers and Privileges Committee. In this particular case, nobody has accused Gloria of being an assertive woman. Nobody has accused her of lack of proper expression. We are not saying she cannot express herself. She's one of the most eloquent senators in this House. The report of the House is very simple. She made allegations. She needed to substantiate. She failed to substantiate. There are consequences of dragging people's names through the mud, and then you don't say it. You don't come here to lecture us about, sexual this, sexual that. Show us the evidence. Show us the evidence. Nobody is interested in sexual advances here.
Senator Sifuna. Senator Sifuna, you know you cannot put exact ones that any senator should use in this house, as long as she is contributing on this particular matter. She is contributing on this particular matter. If I reason, she is defending women and young leaders, young women leaders. So to me, she is not out of order. Senator Azena, proceed and conclude your minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is exactly what happens when young women are assertive in this country. And it is time, Mr. Speaker, some people, I am.
Honourable members, Senator Zena,
I am. And I have the right to be heard. Because, Mr. Speaker, protect me, Mr. Speaker.
To get to the floor.
Protect me, Mr. Speaker, from people exhibiting chauvinism, male chauvinism.
Senator Zena, stop addressing members. Just proceed and conclude your contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Sifuna does not utilize my eyes. I do not use your eyes to read the report, nor do you live with me. There is no way you will know if I read the report or not. So stick to your lane.
Senator Zena, stop addressing members directed. Address the chair kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I continue, like I reiterated, that what we need to discuss in this house is how to protect people and young women especially from sexual harassment. Why? Because a lot of times when these allegations are made or we have cases like this, a lot of times it's thrown under the bus because there is no evidence. And in a lot of instances when this is happening, you do not even have time to get evidence. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be very fair in how we approach these issues and know that this house is a house for all of us and everybody deserves respect. I do not agree with the insults labeled against our fellow colleagues, but at the same time, you do not see every problem. When you have a hammer, you see every problem as a nail. We must not use hammers to correct or guns to deal with very small problems. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.